So, yes, Samson, I can hear you.
Right. And thanks for the many sacrifices, including sacrificing, risking your life in this kind of job. We have seen you before running in the forest and even soldiers trying to seize your camera, damaging your vehicle. And we don't know who they are for, whether they are for the country or not. Clearly, if they are for the country, they will not be chasing you because you don't go there to mine. You only go to expose. So let's begin here. We are told that clearly the situation is because of the impunity as a result of the lack of punishment for those who have infringed over the period, who have violated the laws over the period and have not been punished. Can you give us a list of some clear cases of individuals, companies who have violated these laws and you have exposed, you and others have exposed over the years in this fight? Just give us a sense of it.
I'll start with C&J Alaska, which started the destruction of the Upper Wasa Forest Reserve. And at that time, we reported that was in 2017, 2018, when we went there with the task force. They were leading Chinese miners. In some cases, when we asked, we saw that they had just prospecting licenses and they were still mining the forest. And when we flew the drones, we saw miles of devastation that has not been reclaimed until now. So a large portion of the Upper Wasa Forest Reserve are now pits and gullies destroyed by C&J Alaska. That company metamorphosed into Imperial Heritage Mining Limited. And they also invaded the Apamprama Forest Reserve in 2018 with a prospecting license. And when we went in there, they had over 35 excavators in the forest and they had destroyed it. When we did that report, nothing happened. Nobody was invited. And that's a gross violation of our mining regulations. And even the Minerals Commission was aware of what happened in that forest. Today, one thing led to another, more people joined, and 50%, according to the Forestry Commission of the Apamprama Forest Reserve, is now degraded, pits and gullies. Now, when we did that expose, we expected the state to act, but it didn't. Later on, when we were detained by the same people, when we were sent by the environment minister to stop them in the Apamprama Forest Reserve, the soldiers who were protecting them detained us for 5 hours in the bush and subjected us and my crew to a whole lot of, assault. Nothing happened afterwards. The military said they were investigating. Until now, that report never showed up. Let me also give you a second example. When we went to the Samre Boy area, close to the tunnel, in violation of our mining regulations, the Akonta Mining Limited, owned by Chema Untumi, was mining few inches to the Tano River. In fact, it was violating government's own buffer zone policy. And they had leaked their tailings. I mean, the mining residue was leaked directly into the Tano River.
What does the buffer zone policy say?
It says that you cannot mine 100 meters from a major river.
Thank you very much.
50 meters, depending on which water body we are dealing with.
Right, that's fine. Now let's move on. So what has become of that?
Nothing has become of that. In fact, we provided drone footages of Akonta Mining Limited and how their tailings were being leaked directly, washed into the Tano River. Nothing happened.
And we remember,
also reported,
we remember that the Forestry Commission had actually issued a statement indicting Akonta Mining, correct?
Yes. In fact, that was their invasion of the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve.
Right.
And the minister himself came out that he did not have the authority to enter the forest. We reported that.
After a number of months, we heard the president now say that they do not longer mine in that place. Right. We know Ken Ashigbe, Martin Pebu came together and filed a complaint at the CID. I think subsequently they escalated it to the OSP. At the level of the CID, I think there's been zero reaction from there so far. At the OSP, they have given some updates on their platform, on their website, that they are doing something about it, but doesn't seem to be good enough so far. Yes, please go on.
Right, and something, they, pursuant to that, the National CID invited me, and I provided them with a copy of my documentary. They wanted me to give them evidence that is linking Akonta mining to the destruction in the Tano River Forest Reserve. Now, I told them I have already given them my evidence. What is left is for them to go to the ground and do their own investigations. After all, if they have been given licenses, the Minerals Commission is still alive. They can cross-check. And that was the last I heard of them. So I have also brought to bear in the Ankwaso Forest Reserve, when the task force visited there in 2018, we found a former driver to one of the politicians in Ghana who was destroying the forest there. And in fact, he brought out 40,000 cedis to bribe the task force to buy cocoa, and he was arrested for it. Nothing. He named the person who was mining there at the time as John Boadu. When we did the story, nothing came out of it. So in fact, after that, we have done a number of them. The recent one in Tanzania, which links one Chairman Addison of the NPP to that destruction. I called him. He did not confirm or deny. And after the report, a number of the illegal miners have entered that forest, as you saw in the latest video.
Is that the Enchi situation?
Yes, that's the Enchi situation.
That was in January.
That was in January.
Okay. And
then recently,
right,
just about 2 weeks ago, other miners have also invaded. This time around, we are on the ground. We are being told of names within the same party. We are still investigating to get the evidence that links them to it, to be able to mention their names. And again, no investigation from that, because clearly somebody owns excavators. If they enter a forest reserve, it shouldn't be difficult for the Forestry Commission to investigate to find out the people behind it. But no arrests were made. The excavators, they allow them to cut them. As we speak, there are surrounding villages of the Tanzania Reserve. The excavators are parked there as we speak, waiting for this whole thing to die down, and then they go back.
I am privy to a process that suggests that Shraj may have interviewed you on the back of a petition filed by two individuals, Suleimana Isifu, who is in Germany, and Dr. Jacob Safo, who took up your report and lodged a complaint with Shraj to investigate the matter under they are the directors of the research group, Center for Climate Change and Food Security. They lodged this complaint early in January 5, 2024. And they have been sort of pursuing Shraj on what it has done so far, because in that report, it became obvious that the Forestry Commission officers in Enchi were complicit in the illegal mining there. Has Shraj spoken to you?
Yes, I had a gentleman calling from Shraj to ask some questions, but since then I've not heard from them again. Okay.
Give us, if there's one or two more lists you want to just mention, and now let me ask you my next question.
Samson, I guess offhand, these are the ones that come to mind. There are others that we're still investigating. I have to go into my archives, a number of reports I have done from various reserves across the country, including the latest one, which is the Tano River Forest Reserve. We're getting all manner of information on who has entered. It's not clear to the Forestry Commission.
So we know that in these matters you have spoken to, we can say without any fear of contradiction that absolutely nothing has been done. The things they do about calling you to, interview you is nothing. We cannot say if you did that in January up to now. We are getting to when we're in September. We should credit you for having done any work. The area of the police, even the OSP, all of them, we can say, are failing in this direction. Tell us about your fresh discoveries of devastation, the ones that you have uncovered recently, and what the official response has been.
So we had the one that is showing on your screen right now is the Tano River Forest Reserve. Now we heard that somebody has entered that reserve. In fact, it's a protected area, it's a GSPA. And we went there to find out. In fact, we found out they had entered the forest with the excavators. After agitation from the youth, they brought the 3 excavators back onto the forest road. Their cabin, which they had, they wanted to set up and start mining. That is still within the forest area. A large clearing has been done within the forest ready for mining. Now, we, per our investigations, know that Better Land, Ghana Services, has a legal right to mine within, they have a concession, a mining right within the forest, but they are yet to start mining. In fact, they have sent me videos and pictures of how they are doing their exploration activities. And they are using simple tools. They are saying that they have not, for any reason, entered the forest with any heavy equipment to do exploration. Then the major question is, so who entered that part of the forest and has cleared the area and has been ready to mine? And then we went to the Tano Reserve recently, and we saw the invasion. And as we speak, the excavators have been moved to villages surrounding the area. We have not gotten any official response from the Forestry Commission indicating why they refuse to arrest them, why they allow them to cart their excavators, which is the evidence of who has invaded the forest, out of the forest without impounding them. As we speak, their settlements are still there. Their machines, some of their equipment are still there. And that is what they do. They wait for it to calm down, and then they enter the forest again to destroy.
Thank you. Erastus, my very final question to you. I have a medical doctor here, but still, let me ask you, you have interacted with experts, geologists, medical, experts, and they've been telling you some rather chilling stories you have shared with the country over a period of time. Pick about 2 of the effects that you remember that they have spoken about that keeps you want to continue in this kind of journalism regardless of the dangers that you face.
Something what strikes me most is when Professor Osei Sampini shared his findings with me. In fact, he has 4 of the bodies of the babies in jars for observation. And some of the babies have legs growing from their chest. Some of them have 6 fingers, 6 toes. The one that I showed in my documentary has a malformed head. It doesn't have any genitals at all, so you don't know whether it's a baby boy or girl. And they found high levels of cyanide, arsenic, and mercury in the placenta, which of course the doctor in your studio will know that it transports food to the baby. Whatever you find in there is in the baby. Now there's a lot of research that I have read internationally and locally, which links heavy metals to the deformation in babies. In fact, these babies are coming from the Bebiani Anyaso Bekwai, Galamsey Belt, Donkor area. And Samson, I have been to that ground. And the pollution of the water sources there alone will confirm that indeed the women who died with their babies got into contact or got exposed to these heavy metals through the food chain. Now, another thing that I have seen, which is also backed by research, is the inhalation of vaporized mercury, which is very, very poisonous. In fact, you see the gold smelting centers that have picked up all across the rural setting. They burn the amalgamated gold to produce the vaporized white vapor. And that vapor, per research, goes into the open air and it stays there for a long time. And so, like smoking, passive smoke or passive inhalation from these vaporized gases bioaccumulates in your system, and it gives you a lot of problems. And how many of these smelting centers do we have? A number of them in rural areas.
Okay.
And so we are dealing with a very dangerous hidden problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Erastus Asare Donkor. He's a man who has been on the beats, risking his life. And we have had the opportunity of seeing one particular situation where he and his team were chased. Soldiers who were supposed to assist them were rather against them. Interesting.